Hi, welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to have you with me on this video. In today's video, we're going to talk about mental health and what is going on. And I'm going to talk about my theories, looking at it from a spiritual viewpoint on what I think is going on when it comes to mental health. But before we get into it, as usual, please remember to like and subscribe to this during the video, because when you subscribe, you'll get future videos that I put out. And then also, if you like the video, it'll go out to more people that might need to hear this information. So make sure you hit the like button during the video. So I just wanted to talk about this today because I felt like I've noticed this in the last couple years, like in the last 5 years, but especially in the last like 2 years. I've noticed kind of an intensifying of mental health issues going around, just with people I know, but just out in the public. People seem angry, and there seems to be like I don't know, just people are acting strange. I don't know how to put it. It's like they're angry and they have no patience, and it's just strange behavior and things like that going on. And I definitely, feel like there has been an increase of mental health issues just from what I've witnessed and have noticed and observed over the last couple years. And I just wanted to talk about that today because I think it's a pretty important topic. And please also, please add your comments if you've noticed these things too. If this, if you have any information that you'd like to share about this topic. And I always, welcome comments from viewers. It's always interesting to see what other people have to say, what their opinions and experiences are. So please add, comment if you feel guided to do so. So I took, and this all started, this topic kind of been, this has been percolating in my head for a couple weeks. I took a mental health training for my work. And with my work, I have to take them on a pretty regularly basis because of the type of work I do. And I'm working with a lot of people that, are in crisis or have, experienced trauma and things like that. So it's something that every couple years I have to take it and refresh. And while I was sitting in the training, and it was, a couple day training, and I was sitting there listening to all the material and going through everything, and I've been really thinking about it since the training. It's been a couple weeks, and this is pretty typical for me. I start thinking about something and I ponder it for, a while in my head. But what I kept thinking about during the training was, it seems to me like I kept feeling intuitively that there's some kind of spiritual connection to what's going on when it comes to mental health on the planet right now with human population. And I kept like thinking about it and looking at it through spiritual terms. And that's happens to me a lot. I usually when something I'm in a training or I'm thinking about something, I usually kind of got like lean towards looking at it from that viewpoint, but it was just something I wanted to talk about in this video today because I'm sure that some of you have noticed this as well. So I just noticed, like I said, that and I'm looking at my notes here to make sure I get everything. But I just noticed an increase, like with mental health issues with people, especially over the last couple years. But I'm thinking, especially in the last year or two, I've noticed it. So it's like people are on edge. It's kind of like they're angry, they're on edge, just they're acting different than before. So I have my theories, spiritual theories I wanted to share with you. So I'm hoping I don't miss anything. I might have something pop up in my head while I'm talking about it intuitively, but let's get started. So these are my theories spiritually. So let's start with the dark side. So when I talk about the dark side, I'm talking about negative oriented beings that are on a different vibrational wavelength than us. So we don't always see them, but they're around. So when I say dark side, I'm talking about, malevolent um negative oriented beings. So just so you know, but I just call them dark side is, kind of a name. That's who I'm talking about. So you think about it, the dark side's goal is to keep us from the divine and to keep us, we all have a divine spark inside us, the I am presence, and they're trying to disconnect that from, to keep us disconnected from that. They don't want us to know what our true potential is. They don't want to know that we have that spark within us. They want us to feel separate from the divine instead of being part of it. And they have gone through great lengths over the last couple centuries to keep us ignorant of that and to keep us, kind of severed from that connection as much as they can. And they've done it and when you think about, I mean, they've gone through such great detail to keep us in the dark from that. And so a lot of people don't really understand that they have that divine presence within them, but we all do. But we don't know because of our ignorance and from keeping that information away from us, plus keeping that severing that spiritual connection to the divine. It's also keeping us from being able to use our potential and our spiritual abilities to connect. So they want to sever that as well. So we don't have that connection on that level either. So for centuries, the dark side has set up systems across the planet to keep us from our potential and keep us in spiritual awakening. So they don't want us to awake spiritually. So they've done, like I said, everything they can through the systems that they've created on the planet to keep us in the dark, so to speak, and to keep us disconnected. So here's an example. So we are not meant to work a 9 to 5 type workforce, work that type of work schedule. Like that's not why we're here on the planet. That's not our purpose. So life is supposed to be full of joy and full of spiritual growth, and we're supposed to learn lessons while we're on the planet, but it's not supposed to be a place of huge, problems and hardships and going to work every day 9 to 5. That's not how it's supposed to work. But that's the system that they set up. And part of the reason why they set that system up is because when we're so focused on just trying to survive and have food and shelter and all those things, to survive and have, and they build a system where we have to have money to be able to afford those things. So that system was set up to keep us in a survival mode. So by keeping us in survival mode and keeping us working all the time and for those things and keeping us in that mundane type of energy doing that day in day out, it keeps us from growing spiritually because we don't have time to basically connect to our divine presence. We don't have time to work on our spiritual awakening, and we're not focused on it or paying attention to it, even though it's there, because we're just trying to survive. And we're in that survival mode all the time. So, of course, this has been going on for centuries, but I find that interesting. So, we think about every system that we have on the planet has been set up for those purposes. And there's other reasons why they're doing it too, but a lot of it is to keep us in that lower vibrational energy and to keep us disconnected and just trying to survive. I mean, you think about it, we are the only species on the planet that has to pay to live on the planet. And that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you look at all the other species on the planet, they don't have to pay money to live. They have all the food they need, they have their shelter, they have everything they need to have a happy, joyful life on the planet. But humans have to pay to live, and that was done on purpose. That system was set up on purpose to keep us in that, in that, well, scarcity, but also survival mindset. And, they did that on purpose. So that's why humans are in that system. But the good news is we are transitioning out of of those systems. So we're transitioning to the new earth. And so all these old systems that they have set up over the centuries are crumbling, and we're seeing that every day because it has to crumble and fall away so that the new higher vibrational better system, the 5D system for 5D earth coming in, it is able to come in. So you have to get rid of the old energetically, let that crumble away and disappear before you can really start to new. So the new part, the new better system for the 5D earth. So we're kind of in that transition period right now where we're seeing the old systems crumble, new systems coming in. And I can guarantee you that what's coming in is going to be so much better than what we've experienced in the past, because what's coming in is the way it's really meant to be, is the way we're really meant to live on the earth, and not a false illusion system that we were in before. So I think with this transition, we're coming to terms with the changes of our reality and letting go of the old programming that we've all been around and have been indoctrinated with. And I don't feel like that's going to be easy for everybody. Some people are going to make that adjustment much better than others, but it's hard when everything you've believed in, everything you've been programmed to believe, is not what you think. And it's not really reality, and it's not truth. And I think that's gonna be hard for some people to handle. And I think there's kind of a cognitive dissonance going on right now globally where some people are making that adjustment easier than others, but some people it's going to be really hard for them to let go of that programming and that indoctrination because it's been going on their whole life. And it's going to be very hard for them to let go of those old belief systems, and they're not, and it's going to be a struggle for them to do it. And so I think there's part of that is might be why we're seeing, an increase of mental health issues or an increase in, anger and feeling on edge and lashing out and that kind of stuff, because they're trying to subconsciously come to terms with the changes energetically that are coming in. So you think about it, like for people that are woo like me, I know that these energies coming in are helping us to make this transition. But if you're not woo and you don't know about this information and you're not in connect with spiritual stuff, spiritual knowledge and downloads, you're not going to know what's going on. So, and then of course, you're getting bombarded with, negative energy all the time about it and being afraid and being in that, low vibrational energy. It's going to be quite scary for people because they're not going to understand what's going on. And I think a lot of it is like subconsciously, like energetically, subconsciously, your body knows what's going on, but it's like it takes a while for your brain to catch up to it. So I think a lot of this struggle is probably happening subconsciously, but it's coming out, through anger or mental health issues or increased anxiety or whatever, it's coming out in that other way. But I think it's stemming from the subconscious. And this is, like I said, just my opinion and my theories and just what I'm feeling intuitively, spiritually. Um, so I think that's going to be difficult for some people. And especially if they haven't done the work on themselves, because as we're transitioning and the earth is getting bombarded right now as I speak, we've got a bunch of solar flares coming in, X class, all this, high vibrational energies hitting the planet. And this is the first time in like, thousands of years we've been bombarded with this type of energy. And it's designed to lift the vibration of the planet, which of course is going to lift the vibration of everybody on the planet and have an effect on everybody. But everyone's gonna be different on how they incorporate that energy into their energetic body and into their physical body. So some people are gonna be able to handle those fluctuations in energy and that increased vibrational frequency a lot easier than others. But a lot of it goes back to if they've done the work on themselves. So if you've been doing eternal work and you've been working on your shadow and you've been working on keeping your vibration up and you've been doing those things, then it's going to be easier for you to integrate that energy and transmute into a higher vibration. But if you haven't been doing that work, if you don't know about this stuff and you haven't been doing anything like working on yourself, shadow work, getting out of lower vibrational behaviors and beliefs and energy, then it's going to be much harder for you to transmute the energy because you're not really prepared for it yet. See, it's going to depends on where your vibrational frequency is energetically on how well you're going to be able to integrate this energy. And we're being slammed constantly with this energy. I mean, we're just been bombarded for the last couple years, and right now we're in solar maximum. So of course it's going to continue throughout the year, probably into 26 and 27 as well, where we're going to be getting hit constantly with this high vibrational energy in order to help us make this transition. So in the last few years, because we're in this transition, the dark side has increased efforts to stop our awakening in the transition that we're going through. So they know what's coming. 'Cause they know what's happening, and they're trying to stop it as much as they can. And they're kind of throwing everything they can to try to stop it. So they're going to go out swinging, basically. They're not going to just give up and walk away. They're going to try their best to throw everything at us before, they're finally gone and off the planet. So there's nothing they can do, though. I mean, the divine plan is in place, it's moving forward. The light is now in charge of the planet. I know it might not seem that way, but they are. And so the light is in charge, and they've been, dissipating the dark side for a couple years now. And so, it's getting to the point where, they're going to eventually be done and off the planet, and they won't have influence anymore. But in the meantime, they're kicking and screaming and throwing a tantrum because they don't want us to awaken, because our awakening in this transition is not going to benefit them. It's going to make them disappear. It's going to kick them off the planet. And the good thing that they've been having going on for thousands of years is going to be gone. So they don't want that shift of power. They don't want that shift of control. They don't want things to happen and change, because the change is going to be bad for them because they've had it good for a couple thousand years. So but the light is in control right now and is in power. And so, they are losing, but they are going to try their best to go out swinging, I guess is the best way to put it. And you think about it, when I said that it's been good for them. So, in a couple, I won't remember a couple videos, way back in the beginning of my channel, I had a couple videos where I talk about spiritually awakening, and I did talk about the dark side in one of the videos. And if so, that might be worth your while to go back and watch that if you have more questions about dark side. But just briefly, that they really and this is another thing why I feel like we might be having more mental health issues right now, globally, as a population, is because they are able, dark side malevolent, beings that are of another dimension. We don't see them with our naked eyes. We don't see them being around us, but they're there. And they are able to connect to our energetic body, our energy, the energy around us. And they suck off our energy like a battery, like we're a little battery to them, because they don't have a connection to source or to God or divine. They don't have that connection. So when you're connected to God, divine source, you that's where we get our energy from, is through that connection. But they don't have that connection, it's been severed. And so they get it from us. So for thousands of years we've been like little batteries for them, and they've just been like, sucking our energy, basically. But when they're around you and they're in their energy field, and there's some people that they like to attach to, and they can influence you. They can have a negative influence on your life. They can have a definitely negative influence on your energy, but they can have a negative influence on your energy, but also your thoughts, and which could later affect your behavior. And the reason why I was been thinking about this is because during that training, it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, when we come in our original state, in our original high vibrational state, higher self state, connected to source, connected to divine, there is no such thing as mental health issues. Okay, there's no mental health illnesses. And so why is that? Why is it that we have these issues in the third dimensional earth, but it wouldn't exist on the higher dimensional one, where, in our, like, I want to say original form, but, in our higher dimensional, in our higher self, more, that before we came to earth. So why is it here? And I was thinking, well, you've got all these dark side, you know, entities running around the planet, and they're basically here to, I don't want to say make our life miserable, but basically to try to negatively influence us, influence our lives, influence the people around us. Because if they can't get to you, if you're too strong for them, then they'll a lot of times try to get to you through people, whether you're family members or friends. But they do latch on and attach, and they can stay in your energy field for years. And basically, like I said, they can influence your thoughts. And it might seem like it's your thought popping in your head, but it's not. It's coming from them. It's not your original thought. So if you're having negative thoughts about yourself, putting yourself down, anything that's like anger, lower vibrational thoughts or behaviors, lower, things like that, that's a lot of times their influence on you. And they're putting those thoughts in your head because they want you to feel less than. They want you to feel that you can't do it. They want you to feel bad about yourself because they want to keep you in that low vibrational energy, because the lower vibrational you are, and when you're stuck in that lower vibrational energy, that's a lot more energy they're sucking from you. So it benefits them to keep you in that lower vibrational place. So they're going to put these thoughts in your head as much as they can to try to keep you trapped in that lower vibrational energy, because they don't want you to know the truth, which is you are, you have, this great potential. You have a connection to the divine. You have this divine spark within you. You are a sovereign being that has control over yourself and power that you didn't know you have. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to think that way. So they bombard you in your energy field with all these negative thoughts, and try to get you to, focus on those negative thoughts to the point where it's negatively affecting your life. Or like I said, they might try to go around people that you know or that you're close to try to get to you. So because it's in their benefit to keep you in that lower vibrational, lower vibrational system. So it's not just sucking energy, but also by keeping us in that lower vibrational energy, they're able to easier control us. So if we feel like we don't have any power, and we feel like we're not sovereign beings, then it's easier for them to control us, the dark side. And so they want to keep us in control, and they want to keep us keep getting energy from us, and they want to keep us low vibrational. So there is that real part of they are able to connect to your energy field, stay with you for potentially years, and have this, then can make you, like, give you thoughts and make you feel depressed and keep you in that low vibrational energy. So to me, I think a big part of what mental health issues are is coming from dark side influences. I think that's a lot of what's going on, because you think about it, people having anxiety, people being depressed, all those types of things is going to keep them in a powerful place, keep them in control and keep them being able to use our energy. So that's just my thoughts on it. But it just makes sense to me, because I was like, wait a minute, in our higher divine self, these things don't exist. So why do they exist here? And then I started thinking about it for weeks and percolating in my head. Um, Wait, hold on. Let me see. I got all my all right, make sure I get everything covered. Okay, I'm on my last page of notes. Just don't want to miss anything. So what so that's just my theory on what's going on. But I do feel that it's a different part, like there's different parts to it. One, dark side influence, like I said, in your energy field. Two, the transition that we're going through as a planet, and the high energy that we're getting hit with, from the divine, from the sun, and also the systems that we have been, the old belief systems, the old systems that we have been programmed in, they have not been for our benefit for thousands of years. So I think it's like all the three of those things. I think those are like the three man parts to it. And they say there's a genetic component to it, but there could be, but it could be, um that could be possible. I'm not saying it's not, but this is just, like I said, my theory. We're taking it from a spiritual viewpoint. But we also a lot of times have karma from past lives, or generational karma that has come from, that has passed on from generation to generation. So right now, a lot of people, because we're making this transition to the 5D earth, we have to work through our past life karma. We have to work through generational karma so that it's no longer being passed on. It will be basically transmuted and done away with. So if you think about it, there could be a genetic component, but I'm also wondering out loud to all of you if generational karma and past life karma is part of it. Um, in one of the and here's an example about that. I just want to add this real quick, and then I'll wrap up the video. But I love to get Reiki sessions done, because I feel like every once in a while I need a spiritual tune up, and it's just good. It's good to have that experience, and I always feel much better after I have them done. But I remember the last time I went, a couple months ago, and I try to go every couple months, to get it done. But I went a couple months ago, and my Reiki healer was telling me that she's like, "Well, you're working on. There's something that you have to work on from a previous life that is affecting you in this life because you didn't fix it back then." You didn't transmute it and fix it, and so you carried it into this life. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times you're bringing it, you're bringing stuff from your past life or from generations before you that you're not consciously aware of, and it's manifesting in this life. So in my situation, it was my relationship with money. And she's like, you are abundant, but you don't see it that way. You have this unhealthy relationship with money, like feeling like I don't have enough, the scarcity. But she says that comes back from a lifetime, and she could tell me what lifetime it was. And when she mentioned it, I right away, because she's like, what she saw in the vision was me in like the mid 1800s, like 1860s. And she's like, "Did you have a lifetime? You're aware of a lifetime in that time frame?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I've had visions of me being, in that time, yeah, time period." And she's like, "Well, there you go." But apparently, this issue I have with money started in that time period. Started in that lifetime, and of course, I've had, a couple lifetimes since then. But it's in, I've had not like at least one more since then. But it's just interesting to me how it's carried over. Now, of course, I'm not consciously aware of that, but it's in my subconscious and it's followed with me to this life. So this life is my time. It's my time now to alleviate that out of my energy field, to get rid of that from the previous life, to transmute it. And I have been working on it since she told me about it, and I'm now consciously aware of it. But that's just an example. But really, the best way to fight the dark side influence, like when they're, trying to suck into your energy field and influence your thoughts and potential behavior, is to keep your vibrations up. Because when your vibration is high, your vibrational frequency, they can't control you. Like they can't get to you because you're too high for them. So that's the best way to fight against them, is to keep your vibrational frequency high and just work on it by doing different methods. Like I just released a video, not, like two videos before this one, about meditation basics. And you could meditate, taking walks in nature, listening to music that really uplifts you, spending time, having fun with family and friends that uplift you, like being around high vibrational people, things like that. But keeping your vibration level high, your frequency high, they're not going to be able to have influence over you like they're going to want to. So that's a good way to fight against them, is just to keep your vibration high. Now, that being said, they might try to influence people around you who are in that more negative energy, that lower vibrational energy, and it's easier for them to reach them than you. So they'll try to get to you through people around you a lot of times that are in that lower vibrational. But I think using the power of discernment and using your intuition, you'll figure out what's going on and be able to protect yourself in those situations, as far as like, putting up boundaries and things like that. But also, I want to end on this note. So I feel like things are definitely going to get better moving forward, because even though people might be struggling with mental health issues right now, I think as time goes on and we get higher and higher in vibration, we're going to work our way through that cognitive dissonance. We're going to work ourselves way through that subconscious struggle to relieve old beliefs and old programming. We're going to be able to work our way through all that. But also, there's going to come technology is very soon going to come out, is what I'm seeing, that will help us to heal. So it's not just this technology is just not going to help us to heal um, physically, but also mentally well as well. And it's going to affect us on a cellular level. So it's going to be like technology that's going to affect you positively all the way to your cells. And it's going to basically heal any mental health issues that you may have. And get it out of your system and heal that. And as well as physical issues as well. And this tech uses vibration and frequency. So it works with vibration and frequency. And there has been studies that's really interesting that you can look up, where they've actually been able to heal cells using frequency and vibration. So the knowledge is out there, but this tech is going to bring it to the masses, and you're not going to have to pay to use it. It's not going to be just something that the very wealthy can afford. It's going to be open to everybody. And you're going to be able to use this technology to help us heal. Now, the thing about it though is you have to already have what I'm seeing is you have to already have a higher vibration and frequency for it to work on you. So if you're really low vibration, and low, you're struggling with that, it might, you need to raise it up so that these this technology can work, because it's like it connects with, how can I explain it? Like it connects with our energy field. And so our energy field has to be in alignment with the vibration and frequency of the tech, and to be able to do that. So, and be able to heal us, so it has to have that, be able to connect. So if your vibration is too low, you won't be able to use this technology for your benefit. So going back to a video I did, I guess I can't remember how many before this one it was, but I talked about now's the time to make a choice, service to others or service to self. Well, that's definitely true, because this, all these things are going to be coming out, and you want to have high vibration to be able to use that technology, but also like be able to fight against dark side and be able to, benefit from this transition. So that's why I did that video, because now's really the time to work on our vibration and frequency and do what we need to do to kind of keep ourselves uplifted and keep our vibration frequency high, because it's going to be very intense, energetic next, year or so. And so we need to be able to be in a, good, happy vibration in order to good high vibration frequency in order to be able to use this energy coming in for our benefit. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you have any thoughts about this, please put it in the comments. This is just my theory and opinion on it, because like I said, I've been percolating on this for a couple weeks and been really thinking about it. And I had a lot of like spiritual downloads about it in the last couple weeks. And so I wanted to share this information with you, but also to see, please make a comment. Like if you're seeing it too, about people struggling with these issues, if you're, what your thoughts are about it, I'd like to hear. So, and please like and subscribe to the channel. And please like this video so that it can go out to other people that might need to hear it. But I'm so excited to have you with me today, and I will see you soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.